and Latinos or other. This is a pie chart that keeps changing. You probably have heard this on the news every so often. Some people in the news will emphasize it even more, depending on what kind of fears they have about the changes in the pie chart. But the 90 census, which was the one before that, the proportion of whites was over 3/4. It was over 75%. So it's been shrinking, that piece, and the other piece is growing. So given all those changes, it's important that we consider what are the experiences of people of color in the workplace. All right. Another reason for me to be interested in this is that work, given that it has such a significance in our lives, sort of shaping our daily life, it really affects our personal well-being, our family well-being. And that's where I concentrate more of my work, of my research. And so I know from past work of other scholars that it affects mental and physical health. And there are many ways in which this happens, and we'll talk about it in a moment. We also know that it affects these different aspects of life because people have a lot of pressures, juggling a lot of different things. This happens to be a figure of a woman, but it could be anybody who has to juggle a lot of different things. And you can see she has baby in hand, money, trying to get money, income, generate income, personal love life, household issues, getting to work, getting places. And that's the life that many of us have to live as well. So those are the things that motivated me. And in this process, we find ourselves having to make choices. And these choices about work and our personal lives are going to have an impact on our psychological well-being down the line when we feel not so satisfied sometimes with our lives, or our subjective well-being is affected. And in fact, Dion and some of the students I mentioned earlier, we wrote an article before Dion graduated from SU about these different choices that women in particular, this particular article was about women finishing college and the choices they needed to think about. All right, so now let's talk about what are those stress factors that we encounter in the workplace. And I can mention a few. I made a little list, but I'm sure you have a lot more that you can share with me. So let me tell you what I have in my list first. I have a list of things that are not necessarily related to race or ethnicity, although everything at some point gets related because it gets unequally affecting people, but it's not related in the way that I'll talk about in a few minutes. So let's start with this one, benefits and pay. Is this a stressor in any of your lives? Because I know it is for the people in the studies I work in. So you either have it or don't have the benefit, or you have it but it's so expensive you cannot really take advantage of it. So it really stresses people out. And I have to read you a little quote from a mother in the project, in that New Hope study that I was talking about. This is a mother, this is low-income mothers, okay? And the question here was whether she could afford her health insurance. This is what she has to say. Actually, I'm going to close here. I don't have her quote, so I'm going to just tell you how I remember it. This particular woman had to choose health insurance, had to decide whether she could keep health insurance. She had a job, and she considered her job to be good because she decided that many jobs at this level, low wage, don't offer this. So she had it. However, the premium increased to the point where a third of her salary would have to be put into paying for her health insurance. So she had to make a decision. So she decided she would have to take her children out of insurance. And what she said is, and it's this hope that nothing will happen. Well, they rarely get sick, so I think it will be okay. So when you're banking on luck like that, this is the kind of situation that people live through. And many women in that particular study, the New Hope study had to encounter decisions like that. When I was talking about choices and making decisions, it's decisions about can you afford it? It's really unaffordable at that level, at low-wage employment. And perhaps in the jobs that you guys have, that I have, it's a little better, the situation is a little better, but it doesn't mean it's ideal either, right? So that's the stressor that benefits bring to people's lives. They may get sick and they don't know if they can go to the hospital, to the emergency room, or bring their children to the emergency room. Benefits is one piece of this, and then the pay that people get for the work they do. And in different ways, people may be underpaid, either because they are really jobs that don't receive the kind of status that they think they deserve, or because you feel that you put a lot into your work and you're not getting the kind of rewards that you expect you should be getting. And that causes a lot of stress also in people's lives. Then we have supervisors or coworkers. I have to say, what created more stress for people in the studies I've worked in, it is the supervisors and coworkers. So are there any supervisors in the room? We're going to talk about you for a moment. Okay. Secretly. What's the problem with supervisors and coworkers? Why would they create this stress for Latinos and for African American workers? What is your opinion? What is your experience?
Power.
Power. They have power that we, the subordinates, don't have.
Self-inflicted power. Sometimes.
Yeah, they have power. Yeah.
They tend to kind of like be more bossy, and I think sometimes certain supervisors tend to look down on you and think, okay, you're of a lower pay scale than me, so I can look down on you and treat you like dirt.
And we do find that a lot in the comments that people make in these studies. Remember, the studies I'm mentioning include qualitative data, which is when you sit with the person and you can actually have focus groups so you can have more of this feedback. Right here.
Being a supervisor, I don't think people workers realize that we're trying to help them. There is difference between a good worker and a mediocre worker and a bad worker. And it's very stressful because we have supervisors above us. And they come on to us, which we have to pay the fine.
Right.
Because you're not producing the work that we need to do, because you're
accountable
for their work, and it's
You're
more
part of the
stressful.
middle.
Right.
Middle management is the worst. It's worse.
And the fact that you have to do their work if they're not producing the work. So that's more stressful to me, because I'm doing my work, plus I'm not getting paid to do your work, but I'm doing it.
By having to supervise them, or by having to
No,
make
by
sure
actually doing the work.
And
you may have a situation where both the employer and the supervisors are really nice people, but I think sometimes, so it's not an issue of I'm doing your work or you have to do my work, etc., etc. It may be an issue where you are responsible for putting out a certain type of work or deadlines or producing a certain amount of whatever product you sell or do or whatever. So it puts everyone in a situation of stress, and it's not that one person is not good or the supervisor is being bossy or whatever the case may be, but in reality you have to account for whatever you're responsible for. So it puts everyone under a lot of stress. And if I use an example of what we do here, it's very, very stressful on every